In this problem, it says the room numbers of two adjacent classrooms are two consecutive even numbers. If their sum is 654, find the classroom numbers. Well, before we start working on this problem, let's try and figure out what in the world two consecutive even numbers are. If you'll remember, even numbers are things like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, anything that's divisible by 2. Well, when we're talking about consecutives, that means in order. So it literally would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so on and so forth. Well, they said the room numbers of two adjacent classrooms are two consecutive even numbers. We're going to be looking for, in this problem, those classroom numbers. So we're going to have our first room and our second room, whatever those are. If we could figure out what the first room is, we could figure out what the second one is. So let's let our first room be x, whatever our unknown is. Now think about how you get from one consecutive even to the next one. Think about what we do to get from 2 to 4. Don't we have to add 2? And then to get from 4 to 6, we had to add 2 more, and so on and so forth. So we could write our second room as whatever the first one is, and then add 2. That would get us to our second consecutive even number. Now, keeping going with the problem, it says if their sum is 654. Well, that tells us we're going to be adding some things together. And what are we going to be adding together? The first room plus the second room. That total is going to be 654. Now we have our equation and we can begin to solve. So when we combine like terms, our x plus x, we'll get 2x plus 2 equals 654. Now we still need to get x alone, so let's subtract 2 from both sides. Now we have 2x equals 652. We still need x alone, so we're going to divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 326. But this is not the answer. The problem said find the classroom numbers. That means it wants both of them. Our first room we identified as being x, and we've solved that so that we know now that our first room is 326. That's the room number. Well, what's the next number in order, even number, from 326? Wouldn't it be 328? We just have to add 2 to get to the next one, which is 328. So our classroom numbers would be 326 and 328. We're going to use that same strategy then again for this next problem. The code to unlock a student's combination lock happens to be 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 51. Well, let's think about what odd numbers look like. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And here again, to get from one to the next one, we still have to add 2. So the things that I don't know here are each one of these numbers, the first number, the second number, and the third number. So I'm going to let the first one be x. And then to get from the first one to the second one, I'd have to add 2. To get from the first one to the you could even look at it this way. To get from the first one to the second one, we have to add 2. Then to get to the next one, we have to add 2 more. So if I went to the second number and added 2 more, that would be x plus 4. The same thing as if I looked at my first number, I would have to add 4 to get to the third one in the list. Now, we are dealing with a sum, which means we're going to be adding all these things up. The first number, the second number, and the third number. And that sum will be 51. Now we can combine our like terms. We've got 3 x's there, and 2 and 4 would be 6, equals 51. Now we can subtract 6 from both sides to get 3x equals 45. And then dividing both sides by 3, we'll have x equals 15. That tells us the first number in this combination lock is 15, which means the next one has to be 17, and the next one would be 19 if they are consecutive odds.